Beats by Trill, straight Killerville, dog.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We back. Another episode of the Paul Pickett Podcast, a.k.a. the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. We're going to take you back into the world of bare knuckle fighting. We got a guest that's going to be fighting in BKFC Fight Night, Kansas City, August 16th, 2024 versus Justin Martinez for the men's flyweight division. Let's bring on the one and only Blaine Warbritton. Blaine, what's good, man?
Hey, what's up, dog?
How you doing today?
Oh, I'm feeling good, man. How you doing, bro?
I can't complain. I'm getting into some standard questions at first. What were you doing before you were doing bare knuckle fighting?
I was actually an amateur boxer. I had 40 of those fights. Started doing that when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And when I was about 22, I kind of had a falling out with the guy that taught me how to box. And then I kind of just was like, I'm kind of done fighting. I'm not really feeling this no more. Didn't really like the politics with the pro game. So I was just like, And then here comes bare knuckle. I was like, I started getting that little itch. And then after that, I linked up with my coach now, Danny Brown. He's real smart. He thinks real like I think. Like we'll sit down and we'll break down fights together. And we just started getting that itch. And we were both just like, all right, it's time to do this bare knuckle thing. And it was on from there.
Yeah, I've interviewed a couple cats, and they say at first it sounds crazy as hell, and then once they seen it, they was like, sign me up.
Yeah, see, I never thought it was crazy. I actually got my interest off the old Knuckle documentary with the gypsies over in England throwing down, and I was like, man, I wish we could do that here. I was like, I wish we had some stuff like that in America. Just throw it out, like just old school. Let's knuckle up, get her done. Because I was always scrapping in the streets. But we didn't want to record them, throwing on YouTube, nothing like that. We were like, hey, this is hush hush. We're going to go throw it out real quick and then move on. So then when it was starting to get talked about, like, oh, we're going to bring bare knuckle to the States, like, oh, it piqued my interest big time. I was like, that's what I was born to do. Because I was never big on, like, blocking with the big gloves and trying to cover up and show up. I was always head movement, footwork, and I was like, man, my boxing style will convert to bare knuckles so good. And then once it came over here, everything just started lining up, and then it was on from there.
Now I watched because I had to do my research. I saw a fight online, Midwest Fight Night 2 versus Paul Walters.
Yeah.
Looks like you definitely had a height advantage over him, and you took advantage of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have a height advantage over all these fools.
Like, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Okay. Yeah, you're going to have a clear height advantage.
Oh, yeah, I got a 76-inch wingspan. These dudes don't know what they got going on.
So I saw you when you beat him in the first round, you hit him with back-to-back uppercuts.
Yeah.
And from my experience in watching BKFC and stuff, it seemed like he might have got up a little too fast from those uppercuts, too.
Oh yeah, he should have stayed down. See, when I got in, I was feeling him out, and I was like, "Oh, this dude ain't on my level." I was like, "Let's move around, let's have some fun, let's kind of drag it out a little bit." And I was like, "Oh, he's throwing his overhand right a lot." And I was like,
"Yeah,
let me feint him, let him throw it, and I'm gonna take his head off." I feinted. He threw the overhand. I threw the right uppercut. When I threw the first one, I actually landed with the wrong part of my hand. Boom, and I instantly corrected it and threw the right one. Bow, landed it, turned his head. That was a wrap.
Yeah, and I notice a lot of these cats when they get hit like that, they try to get up real fast. But I've heard that you need to kind of like
Oh
take
yeah,
that knee, gather your senses, and then try to get up around the 7 mark, and then you might be good to go.
yeah.
But
If he was smarter, he would have stayed down a little longer. Try
and
to
he
get his
did.
feet back under him.
He seemed kind of wild with that right. He
Oh
might
yeah,
have
I
hit one
read him from a
to the
mile
body or
away.
something.
Yeah, he might have been able to get away with that with some of these other dorks, but you ain't throwing that on me. I'll see that from a mile away.
Yeah, it looked kind of wild, and I know he lost his footing on one of those. Now, how did you get into the BKFC? Did you have to go through any tryouts or anything of that nature?
Nah, so I had the bare knuckle fight locally. That tape kind of made its way, started making its rounds, and then Scott Farley, the manager for the Goats, or Goat Management Agency, he seen it. He hit me up. He was like, "Man, I want to sign you." And he wasn't the only one. I was getting hit up by a lot of these management teams, but I was like, "Man, as far as bare knuckle goes, like homegrown bare knuckle guys, not all these dudes coming from the UFC, none of that, just straight bare knuckle guys." I mean, that roster speaks for itself. I mean, Lorenzo
Yeah.
Hunt, Elvin Brito, Tony Loco Soto's about to go get him a belt. I mean, it was just like, this is the right team. We linked up, we started going through the process, signed with them, and then he was like, "You want to fight on BKFC show in Kansas City, right near your hometown?" I was like, "Dude, sign me up. Let's go." And then that process kind of worked. He was like, "Hey, you want to fight? They got a fight ready for you, Justin Martinez." I was like, "All right." Like, I'll like line them up, dude. I'm gonna run through these dudes. I did not care who they gave me.
How much do you know about your opponent? I don't know much except he's 0-3 and he's 2 inches shorter than me.
He they as far as in the BKFC, I know he had the Chansey fight,
Okay.
which was pretty good till he got caught. He had the who was it? J.R. Ridge. They had a really they had a
J.R.
really
Ridge.
good scrap. And then he had the Austin Lewis one, which was the last one. And
That was a no contest.
and and that was actually a no contest where he knocked dude out right at the bell, and they called it a no contest. And then I saw his fight over they did in Ryzen against that Japanese dude, and that Japanese dude's real good too. So I mean, he fights aggressive. He likes to throw
Yeah, like a
overhands.
bulldog. Yeah.
I already know what he's gonna do. My coach knows what he's gonna do. Like, this fight's already, like, I've already ran through it in my head. I know how it's gonna go. I know how it's gonna end. Like, I could spoiler alert it.
Now, the fact that he's 5'2", does that make any difference?
To me, not so much. I'm used to fighting shorter guys anyway. Like, how much shorter is what it is. They're all gonna have to fight their way in on me. I'm the big guy. I'm the big dog. Like, I got quick feet. I got a quick jab. I got a long jab. I got one punch knockout power. Like, these dudes they're gonna have to evade all the bombs, evade all the landmines, try to get inside, and then once they get inside, they're gonna have to hope they can do something without me spinning them off and hitting them. I mean, I'm the puzzle to be solved here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, he could go off. I guess he could look up the fight that I was looking at. But when you get into BKFC, it's a little different. The ring is definitely different than the ring that y'all were fighting in that time.
Yeah, the thing is too is I hope that people watch that fight and they think that's what I'm in, because there's a little secret to that fight that people don't know. they're gonna find out August 16th when I get in there with Justin.
Now, what would you say your greatest strength is?
My greatest strength, I got a lot. My footwork, my head movement, my jab, my power, my length, my experience. A lot of these guys, they might got a handful of MMA fights, and then they come in here. I've been boxing since I was a teenager. I've been scrapping in the street. Here's the thing too: is a lot of these guys, they'll talk and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm real technical," or they'll be like, "Oh, I'm just a dog." And there's people like me, man. I got both. I've been developing skills since I was a teen. Like this fight stuff is not new to me. This is in me. It's bred in me. Not to mention, I've been scrapping in the street my whole life. Like that dog's in me too. Like I'll sit there and box people's ears off all day. But if there's somebody that can box with me, I can bring that dog out too, and we'll stand in toe to toe and just throw bombs. Like I got all of it. I'm a 5-tool player.
Now, have you had many losses?
As an amateur, I went 32-8.
Okay, how'd you deal with the losses and bounce back?
I hate losing. I'll say I fucking hate losing. Man, I'm a competitive prick. Like, man, I'd fucking rather not lose than win, if that makes like, man, them losses suck. I fucking hate them. I remember all 8 of them. They all pissed me off to this day.
Yeah, most cats seem like they ask them that question and they take it kind of easy, like they just bounce back. But you the first person I heard say, I hate every single one of them.
Oh, I fucking dwell on them, man. I can't stand losing.
Now, some fighters I interviewed, when they fight people, they might train a different way every time, like for that specific fighter, and some just train a certain way every single time, no matter who they fight. And what kind of fighter are you?
I would say a mix. Like, I'm always gonna do my thing. I'm always gonna lead the dance, but I'm gonna figure out what my opponent might do that I can also use to my advantage to keep leading said dance. Like, my whole thing is like, I'm very loose. I'm very fun. I'm very elusive. I like to work skills, and be real technical. But at the same time, I know all it's going to take is one shot, and I'll put somebody's lights out. And so I'll just set it up. I'll take my time. I'm not one of these guys that has one punch power, that's in love with their power to the point where they're just searching for it. Like I'm so confident, and I've had so much experience with hurting people and knocking people out that I know it's going to come eventually. So I can dance with it. I can play with them. I can set them up. I'll let them do stuff. All I know is once I land and I put something on it, that's a wrap.
And now you're flyweight, correct?
Yeah.
I just want to see who's in your division. So okay. That's John Dodson. You got J.R. Ridge, who my friend of the show interviewed him. Chancey Wilson. Man, you had some bulldogs to go through, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, you got Tyler Randall.
This the big show. There ain't no punks in here. Like, I'll be telling people, like, you want to talk about what the UFC is to MMA. That's what BKFC is to bare knuckle. Like, I'm not here to fight easy dudes. I could have stayed on the local scene and just pump my record up or just beat a bunch of dorks up. Like, I want the best guys. I want Dotson. I want Aguero. I want Chancey. I want Ridge. I want all these. You got a number next to you. You got a belt. Like, I'm looking for you. Like, I want the best guys.
Do you think that's what makes BKFC head and shoulders above the rest of the bare knuckle leagues? Is that they got the best bare knuckle fighters out of all of them?
See, I think we got the best bare knuckle guys. I'm not gonna take nothing away from other organizations and their bare knuckle guys either. But what I will say is, I think BKFC puts on the bigger lights, the bigger show.
Yeah,
they have that wow factor to them that these other organizations don't. they're all, which I think is what's attracting a lot of these bigger name UFC guys and stuff like that to come over, because it looks big time. It looks main event. And then you'd have to go division by division to talk about who's got what. As far as flyweights, I think BKFC is miles ahead of everybody else in the flyweight division, bantamweight division, featherweight. I mean, we got some dogs in this company.
Don't forget my guy Redneck Mundell.
Mundell's a beast, and then there's some, and all my fellow GOAT guys. Come on now, there's legends. There's a lot of already bare knuckle legends already in here. Like I said, Lorenzo Hunt, Elvin Brito, Tony Loco Soto, and those are all GOAT guys. I'm just ready to join that list, bring a belt. As far as I'm concerned, the big dog of the 125ers is here now.
Now, everybody always wants to win the belt. That's the standard. But what other goals and aspirations do you have in this sport?
Man, that's the beginning and end right there.
Yeah, that's just it.
Like if I can't hand my mom and my dad that BKFC belt, then I failed. Period. Man, I come from a town where we got a lot of fighters that want to be locally famous. They want to go around. They want to go to all these Topeka places and be Mr. Topeka. That ain't me. I don't care about being Topeka famous. I'm trying to fucking bring that shit to my parents, man. Like, they have given me so much in this life. Like, the life that I was born into versus the life that, like, I walked out of high school with because of them. I mean, they turned their life around so hard for me to try and give me everything I could ever need. Man, I owe them big time.
That's what's up. Now, Conor McGregor bought into BKFC.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what does that do for this sport?
I think that's big time. But as far as fight fans go, like casual fight fans, not your hardcore fight fans, that Conor McGregor is synonymous. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's like, a lot of people don't even know what MMA is, but they know what UFC is. Like, there's a lot of people that couldn't tell you who any of the current champions are, but you bring up Conor McGregor and all of a sudden there's a conversation started. Oh, I know Conor McGregor. It was funny. I mean, here I am, red beard, clean cut. I mean, you know how many times I walk and somebody, oh, Conor McGregor. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, do you think he'll ever fight in BKFC?
I don't know. It'd be big. I'd love to see it. One of them Knuckle Manias, main evented by Conor McGregor. It don't even matter who he fights. They don't, right? They could go get the popcorn machine guy and bring him down for Conor McGregor, and that's just gonna do like 4 million pay-per-view buys.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it don't matter if they like bring out a Mike Perry or they bring out, like you said, just the bottom of the barrel, man.
They could give him one of the top guys. I mean, Mike Perry has done a lot for this sport, and the name that he's built. I mean, I'd say he's kind of right now the current face of bare knuckle, and they could do that super fight, Mike Perry versus Conor McGregor. But like I said, Conor's at such a point where it doesn't matter who he fights, where he fights. He's got these casual fans that are. It's like, he's actually a fighter. So when I say this, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but it's kind of like the Jake Paul thing. Jake Paul's got so many casual fans that it doesn't matter who the fuck he fights, whereas us as hardcore fans want to see him like, hey, why don't you challenge yourself against somebody? He doesn't even matter because he's going to sell pay-per-views fighting a bunch of dipshits.
Yeah. And do you think the Mike Perry versus Jake Paul is going to do anything for BKFC?
I hope so, and I think that all depends on how much they promote the bare knuckles stuff. If they just run it like it's a regular boxing match, they don't really mention the BKFC, they don't really pump up Mike Perry like they should, then it probably won't give them the bump. If they really run it and they show videos of the savagery that Mike Perry be getting into, spitting that blood out. That's such an iconic bare knuckle scene when he spit that blood out, kept going. They use that stuff, and he goes out there and puts on a really good performance. If he wins, loses, whatever. If he goes out there and just drags Jake Paul into a dogfight, and they pump that out and they promote that the way they should, Perry should come out a bigger star which then makes the BKFC a bigger deal. Because it might help where people go, man, that dude was a fucking savage. Let's go see what the rest of these dudes are about.
And you would think that they would want to promote it because, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be on Triller, right? The fight.
I'm not sure. I would assume so.
Because Jake Paul usually fights all his fights on Triller, and Triller is part owners of BKFC, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so it would. I mean, if they're smart, they would definitely try to mention, you know, that Mike Perry's in the bare knuckle thing as much as possible. And that's the thing. He's actually had a probably, I guess you could say, a better career overall in BKFC because he's undefeated, right?
Oh yeah.
Even you had Austin Trout, you know, he beat my guy right here, Luis the Baboon Palomino.
Yeah, he beat Diego Sanchez and Palomino.
You know, so yeah, he's had a second career, and that's the thing. A lot of these UFC cats, you know, they can have their second careers when they fizzle out, and you know, of course, you got the people trying to compare UFC to bare knuckle, and that's how you know bare knuckles really starting to get noticed because you comparing them, and it's like you shouldn't be comparing them already because like one is like 6 or 7 years old, and the other's like what 20-something years old probably.
Right. Yeah, BKFC is growing big time at a rapid pace. It's really cool to see, and now it's like really fun to be a part of. And now I'm just looking to take myself up. I'm gonna try to do everything I can in my power to become a star in this company and bring eyeballs to this company as well as the eyeballs bring it to myself. Like, and it's really cool to be a part of for sure.
I can't imagine that the Kansas City show won't be sold out either. Like every show is pretty much sold out.
It's gonna be packed. It's gonna be packed. I'm gonna have a lot of people there.
What do you expect to happen to your opponent come fight night? Because now I know somebody said, like, when we interviewed him before, that BKFC is different than boxing. Boxing starts out slow and gets fast. BKFC starts out fast and gets slow. You're gonna try to just knock them out the gate.
See, that's the thing too. Whereas I think like guys that come from the pro boxing scene and then come into bare knuckle, it's different because a lot of pro boxing, you're taking your time. You got longer rounds, longer minutes.
Yep.
But amateur boxing's not like that.
Okay.
You got 3 rounds, 1 minute, or a minute and a half. You go to the big tournaments, it's 2 minutes. But it's much more fast paced. You got to get on your guy. You got to do work. You got to get it done because you only got 3 rounds, 4 rounds in a big tournament. I mean, you're not going all night like in the pro game. So I was already used to that, like jump on a guy. I knew I could take my time a little bit, but there's definitely a little more urgency. See, because it's almost different for me because going from the minute and minute half rounds to the 2 minute, it's almost like I got longer time where a lot of guys are used to the 5 minute rounds or the 3 minute rounds, and now they're getting subtracted down to the 2. And so I think it's almost an advantage for me going straight from the amateur boxing scene up to the bare knuckle scene in that aspect of the time.
Yeah, that makes sense that it compares more to the amateur scene and whatnot. See if I got any other questions. So for this guy, did you kind of train for this guy the same way you kind of trained for the fight that I saw, the Paul?
Paul.
Sorry, Paul, but you got fucked up.
Paul, I mean,
you got the same first name, but you got fucked up.
It was a local fight. I knew what he had skill wise. I didn't really have to train for him as a fighter. He didn't have nothing for me. There's levels to this game. I mean, it just was what it was. I knew I wanted to go in, drag it out a little bit, have fun in front of my home crowd, send him packing back to Florida, and just thanks for coming.
Now, how many total bare knuckle fights have you had?
Officially or unofficially?
Officially.
Okay, so just the one pro bare knuckle.
Okay, and that didn't go to distance. Now, unofficially, any of them went to distance?
Nah.
Okay.
This when if there's something I was gifted with a little something that a lot of these guys don't got. And I'll give that, man. That's genetic passed down from my dad. Like just to give a little background on my life, man. I was born not privileged at all. My dad was a drug dealer. Uh, Real young. My dad was like 20, 21. My mom was like 18, 19. When I'm starting to get into my like toddler days, a little older into my young kid days, I mean, my dad's taking me out with him to go and hang out in these trap houses, and he'll look back and he'll tell you, man, he wasn't living right, but he was young, living that fast life. And I just remember, man, going outside and hanging out with him and just watching him just put people to sleep, dude. Boom. And I was like, and that was where like my love for fighting started, was with my dad. Like it wasn't like we were sitting at home watching pro boxing matches or anything like that. I mean, it was just like, man, my dad's my hero. I'm watching this dude put people to sleep. Like I want to do that. And so that was another reason. That bare knuckle, man, it was in me. And man, my mom will tell you stories of me being like 4 years old, jacking up 8, 9-year-old kids in the neighborhood, stealing their bikes. Like I was just a fucking maniac as a child, man. And it was just something. They were so worried about me all through school. Like, oh, he's gonna get kicked out. He's gonna get kicked out. Like he's just not like these other kids. And then that ended up coming true. Freshman year, beat up one of the big wrestlers on the team because he was picking on one of my cousins who kind of was dealing with a little special education stuff and all that. And he came up to me, hey, this dude's picking on me. I was like, I'll go talk to him. Went up, talked to him. He pushed me. Night, like got kicked out. Tried coming back. They were like, hey, this ain't gonna happen. Got in another fight, knocked another kid out, and they were like, you ain't graduating on time. I was like, well, then I'm out. So I dropped out junior year, just kept doing my thing, boxing. I was like, who needs school?
Now I'm looking at the card, Kansas City. I don't know too much about a lot of these fighters on this card, except Doug Coltrane, because he's from around my way, North Carolina. Do you
Yeah.
know anything about any of these other fighters on this card, or any of these guys from around your way?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them dudes scrap. Main event, obviously, Brito and Jake Lindsay.
Okay.
They've kind of got their names out there. Zeb Vincent. Was who else?
And that's the feature.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of like up and coming guys. Really, actually curious to see how a lot of these guys do. Like Beowulf Jones and Ira Johnson. I watched Beowulf. He just had his fight in Lawrence not that long ago. It was a real good bare knuckle scrap. Not very technical. They went out there and just kind of beat each other up till one guy went down. Ira Johnson, he was a boxer. He actually lost to one of my sparring partners. Was the last time I seen him actually in a boxing match, Reyes Sanchez. And then Reyes ended up going on and fighting Muhammad Ali's grandson. They had a boxing match. But I sparred with Reyes Sanchez a lot, and he beat Ira Johnson in a straight boxing match. And then this will be Ira's first pro bare knuckle, I do believe. So I'll be curious to see how he transitions from the boxing game to bare knuckle, because some of these guys that come from MMA or boxing actually transition better to bare knuckle and look better in bare knuckle, and bare knuckle is a better sport for them. Like, I mean, you can look at a lot of these guys and you'll look up their MMA records and they weren't doing very good, or boxing records, they weren't doing very good. But then they get in bare knuckle and they'll fight guys with way better MMA records or way better boxing records, and they'll smoke these dudes. Like, bare knuckle is its own sport. So I'm very curious to see how a lot of these guys translate.
These guys, Pringle versus Schwan, these.
Yeah, I don't know them.
I don't know who they are, but Schwan got tattoos all over his head,
I seen that.
face.
I see that. I know Matt Guyman fought on that Lawrence card too. I'm pretty sure Matt
So
Guyman and Beowulf Jones are teammates with Justin Martinez.
this card is probably a lot better than people think, then, right?
Oh yeah, that there's a lot of talent out here in Kansas, and like people about to find out. Like not even just bare knuckle. I mean, we got guys in MMA, we got boxers. I mean, there's some talent brewing around here. Like MCA Midwest Combat Academy out here in Topeka. Like they're pumping out some real dudes. Like Shannon Woodward's a badass coach. Jacob Thrall's coming out of there. Rome Lindsay, who's went from MMA to bare knuckle. He's a bad motherfucker. They got some killers out there. And then I know Lawrence Fight Team, they got some dudes. And then 316, the Rickles guys, Justin Martinez and all them dudes, they're all out there. I mean, there's some underlying talent out there. It's kind of cool being the one boxer that's going into bare knuckle, whereas a lot of these guys are like MMA guys going into bare knuckle though out here.
Yeah, and I actually, a lot of cats in my interview always say those are the cats they like to get on more, is the MMA guys that think they could just come to bare knuckle and think they're gonna dominate, when it's a lot different. What's your fight nickname?
So funny thing about that, it was originally the War Dog,
That's what
which
I
was
thought.
an homage to my grandpa. That was his prison nickname. Funny thing. And so I was like, he passed, and I was like, man, I need a nickname. I'll throw a little homage out there for the debut. And then but one of the things that happened was in the interview before, I was talking to the guy, the ring announcer, and he was like, so what are you fighting out of? And I was like, well, I don't have like a home gym or anything. I was like, just announce me from North Kansas. I was like, that's where I'm from. That's my hood. Like that's the people I'd get down with. I was like, just announce me from North Topeka, Kansas. They did that, and the whole crowd fucking went crazy. So I was like, all right, I'll bring North Topeka with me. So me and the coach started talking. He was like, man, the way you fight. He's like, the way you talk. He's like, dude, you're just a natural bad guy. And it just kind of came together. They were like, everybody started calling me the North Topeka bad boy. And I was like, shit, let's run with that. I was like, I'll bring the city with me. It'll be my nickname. I'll just keep my neighborhood rolling. As far as I go, they'll come with me.
Yeah, hopefully BKFC will put a bio on you after you win this fight, man, because
oh yeah,
I couldn't find a bio on you.
They need to get somebody to talk to me, man. I got an interesting life story. It just needs to be heard. From childhood to now, man, my life's crazy.
One more question before we go. How much do you care about the rankings, man? I know most cats, they say they don't really care about the rankings, man, because the rankings are like, they could get political, I guess.
I think the rankings are good for the fans. It kind of gets them an idea of like who's where. Like to me, I looked at the rankings the other day and I was like I can name dudes that can replace these guys in the rankings, like that are on the roster. Like, and I'm one of them. Like, I was like, throw me in there, throw the Japanese dude that's in there now. What's his name? I can't even think of it off the top of my head. He was the one that fought Justin in Ryzen, and they're bringing him in.
I'm familiar with him.
And then I like what's his name? Fuck, I can't even think of it off the top of my head. There's this dude down in Florida that I think's pretty cool. He's like 2-0 now, 2 knockout. Strode's pretty cool. I mean, there's some guys, some dogs that aren't even ranked that I think will smoke some of these dudes that are ranked.
I don't know if you're familiar with Edgar Plaziola, the Dream Killer. I interviewed him like 2 days ago. He's like 3-0. He's in Kai Stewart's division.
Oh, that's cool.
Whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of cats that are really, really good. A lot of tough talent. I think there's a lot of talent out there that people don't even realize yet, but they're gonna find out. I think people might be looking at these rankings like, oh, these are the
top guys in the division. I think in a lot of these divisions, there's some sharks just ready to eat. Because I think, speaking of 125, I mean, a lot of these guys have just kind of fought nothing but each other, and it's kind of built their names all up together because they just keep want to win, want to lose, want to win, want to lose. Like Chansey, Martinez, J.R. Rich, Tyler Randall. I mean, you look at their records, and all they've done is fight each other. It's like one will beat one, and then the other one will beat the other one, and they lose to each other. They win against each other, and now they're all ranked. There's some killers in this division that are coming that are gonna fuck these dudes up.
And then you got multiple rankings. You got BKFC, you got Knuckle Town, you got Bare Knuckle Nation. So it's like you can't keep up with them because they all never have the same rankings.
Yeah,
it's even like Mike Perry, man. They got, if I'm not mistaken, they got him as the number one pound for pound.
He's the number one pound for pound and the number one ranked guy in his division, but they won't let him fight for the belt. I was like,
that's what I'm about to say. How you number one pound for pound and you ain't got a belt?
He's the money weight guy.
He's the money guy. He's the money guy. Yeah, he's the money guy.
They're not gonna put him up against
Redneck Mandel, which
they're not doing that. They're gonna keep saving him to fight against like anybody coming in from the UFC.
That's what I said.
Which I think is smart on the BKFC side as far as like that's a marketable thing, but as far as rankings go, I don't know. I know Perry's a fucking dog, and if they were like, hey, we want you to fight Mundell for the belt, he's gonna be like, fucking sign me up. Let's go.
He'll fight.
Oh yeah, he'll fight anybody. Mike Perry's a fucking dog.
But I don't care if one guy's got like 600,000 followers and other guy does it, man. Like, all I know is Redneck Mandel is the champ. He's also
and that means Mundell has. The way I look at it is Mundell has earned that money fight against Perry.
Yeah,
he's got the belt. Let him make that payday off Perry.
And he's wanted it for a long time. They're trying to hold that one back as long as they can, man.
That's the thing. Like us as bare knuckle fighters, we're the real deal. Like there ain't no pussies in bare knuckle. Like you know what happened when I had my bare knuckle fighting last. I was the only bare knuckle fighter in the whole card. The day before we had weigh-ins, I'm standing in line and everybody's all the fighters. You're the bare knuckle guy. You're the bare knuckle guy. Yep. I wouldn't do that. I know. That's why no one will remember any of your names. Fuck out my face.
That's what most people do say is, damn, I wouldn't do that for no kind of money.
This is where the real fighters are right here. Cause there ain't no grappling. There ain't no holding on and saving and getting out of a fist fight. There ain't no gloves. There ain't none of that shit. This is just mano a mano, man versus man. We gonna fucking see who can throw the best hands. If somebody's going out or getting cut up, there ain't no avoiding it unless you want to take a knee, tap out. This sport ain't for me. Get the fuck out of here.
Modern day American Gladiator, and even the women. Like I interviewed Melanie Shaw. She dealing with a lot of drama because of her fight, but like she fought Bret Hart and she went viral because the tooth flew out and she was as bloody as hell, man.
I'll give so much props to the women of bare knuckle, and I think they deserve so much props because unlike with us as men, there's not a lot of women that have one shot knockout power. So these girls are going in there for fucking 5 rounds, throwing bones on each other's face, just beating the shit out of each other. Because these girls hit hard. They might not be able to turn each other out. It's like that old adage that Teddy Atlas used to talk about, where like there's like that fine line of power where it's like you don't have the power to put somebody to sleep, but you're better than they are, and you have just enough power that those are like the ones where they turn fatal at the end of 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Like that's the women, man. They beat the shit out of each other. I will give them their props all day, every day. Them women deserve it.
Yeah, they go the distance like every single fight, which
that's some pain management warrior shit right there. Like these women are going in there and going to war all the time. And then you see these dudes get hit with one shot. They take a knee, ain't even bleeding. They're like, I'm done. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
I was interviewing somebody the other day. They said there's a lot of cats been quitting lately. They've been noticing dudes been quitting. Like they'll take that, like you said, they'll take that knee and then they'll get that second thought in their head. You could tell they still had enough to get up and continue to fight, but then they
Hey,
like,
there's a lot of dudes with no heart. They have that idea.
right.
I know what it is. In their head, they're watching these bare knuckle fights, and they're like, "Man, I got the skills. I got the skill. I think I can do it. I think I can do it." And then they get in there and they feel that shit, boom, and they're like, "Fuck this! This ain't for me. Get me out of here." But that's what I said, man. I grew up doing this shit. I've been fucking scrapping with people in the streets forever, and there ain't no weight classes in the street.
What advice would you have for like those people that Because I'm pretty sure at first you had the people that just think they could come off the streets and get in the bare knuckle. What kind of advice would you have for
Oh,
them?
dog, I get that shit. They'll be like, "What do you do?" I'm a bare knuckle fighter. Oh man, how do I get into that? Like you don't because you don't got what it takes. Like I'll tell you right, just because you used to beating up the other dorks in your little neighborhood, or you went to jail and got in some fights in there, that ain't the same. These are trained fucking fighters that are gonna go all day. They ain't gonna get tired, and they gonna beat the shit out of you. Like, don't do it. Like unless you want to get into it, go find a real trainer, go find a real gym, go spar with real fighters, and then if you can get through all that, then maybe just maybe you could do it.
And you're right. I haven't seen not one guy that's not training hard for this shit.
This ain't fucking get off your couch after drinking and smoking all day, go get into a fucking tough man contest brawl. These are real fucking fighters. They're all trained in real gyms. Like I have my dream after all this, maybe even during it, is I want to open a straight bare knuckle gym. That's all because I feel like a lot of these bare knuckle guys are either in MMA gyms or they're in glove boxing gyms, and it's not the same shit. It's not the same sport. Bare knuckles its own thing. I want to train and surround myself with nothing but actual bare knuckle fighters, and we train for the bare knuckle fights, not fucking sparring with dudes that are trying to kick us or take us down, not sparring with these dudes in their Philly shell with their big ass pillows on their hands and their headgears that got a big ass shield on their face. That shit's all dumb and gay. Like, let's get fucking real bare knuckle gyms started up. Let's get some shit going for the actual bare knuckle guys. That's what I want to do in my town. I want to start a straight up, this is for the bare knuckle fighters only gym.
And I'm pretty sure if your opponent, Justin Martinez, is smart, he better be working out right now while we're doing this interview, right?
He better lay off them weights and get into a boxing gym. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, now he's a little cock diesel dude. I mean, he's 2 inches shorter than me. He's a little stocky guy.
Oh, he's stacked, but this ain't no bodybuilding contest.
Yeah.
I know there's gonna be some people that look at that poster and like, oh man, that dude's got muscles. He's gonna win. That motherfucker going to sleep. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, if he tries like Paul did, the right hooks, I don't like when I see short guys like that and a taller guy. I think the only chance they got is to try to come in low on the body, man.
And that's the thing too, is I watch all these guys, me and my coach both, and we watch them and we actually think of things like, if I was their coach, how would I be training them? And none of these dudes fight good. Like, where's your footwork? Where's your head movement? Like, y'all motherfuckers are fighting with your hands clear out here with no head movement, no footwork, and then you wonder why you're getting hit in the fucking face so much. Like, if you're that much shorter than somebody, you better Mike Tyson that shit. You better cut the ring off. You better be moving your head. If you sit there and you cross your feet and you don't know how to cut me off and you just follow me around, I'll walk you like a dog. I'll keep you on the leash until I decide that it's time to go night-night. Watch, I'm a AI cross this dude over, pantomime. I'm gonna joke with him. I'm gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna hit some dance moves, and then I'm gonna finish him.
Well, I can't wait to see it, man. Before we go, anything you want to shout out or anybody you want to shout out?
I want to shout out a couple people. I want to shout out Just Blazed. Wallace Khan runs there. He's kind of been rolling with me since the beginning. I got to give him a shout out. I got to give a big shout out to my coach, Danny Brown, best mind in boxing in the state of Kansas. And a lot of these people out here in Kansas have fucked him over and moved him because they tried to politic and go to people that got better connections. But I'm telling you, straight boxing wise, Danny Brown's the fucking best in the business, and I'm glad that that's my coach. And then I definitely want to shout out some of the other fighters in town, fucking Jacob Thrall, Rome Lindsay, he's a beast. All the MCA guys, Coach Shannon Woodward over there, he's putting together some cool shit. Uh, I do also want to shout out my parents for everything they've done for me. I wouldn't be here without them. So them fucking realizing what they were doing, getting their life turned around, and making shit happen for me. I wouldn't be here if they didn't decide that there was better shit to do in life than what they were doing as kids.
Well, I want to shout you out for reaching out for this interview. I know I'm doing something right when bare
Oh
knuckle
yeah,
fighters start hitting me up for the interviews and stuff.
hey you, dude, this deserves to blow up. You deserve to blow up for sure. You're the way you ask questions, the shit you know about the sport. Like we need more knowledgeable people out there
Well,
promoting bare knuckle. That's how the sport grows. Like you need us, we need you type situation. Like we're all in it together. It's teamwork make the dream work.
I'm nowhere near an expert like a lot of these other guys out here. Definitely like
Man,
Knuckle Town and stuff.
all them
But
journalist credentials don't mean shit. Sometimes you just got to get down to the nitty gritty and ask the right questions.
yeah, and I think my interview style is a lot different than everybody else's and whatnot.
I like it.
And
I like
I
it.
used to do
This was fun.
Circle of Kings interviews as well. I used to produce those, and that's how I kind of got into it. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
Joshua Chassie.
Nah.
Yeah, you might meet him. You'll probably meet Joshua Chassie. He kind of got our foot in the door with BKFC, and
That's
then
cool.
I used to do it with the Knuckletown officials host they got now, Chad Burbank. I used to basically produce all the content, and he was the host, and that's how I kind of got into it. And I just fell in
Oh,
love
yeah.
with it, man. Because it's the modern
Awesome.
day American Gladiator. It's way better
Right.
than boxing is right now,
Oh yeah.
and
Fucking
it's gonna
glove
give
boxing,
you,
dude. I can't
yeah,
stand that shit no more.
it's fell off, and UFC's got to run for the money.
Especially after being in there and doing the bare knuckle shit, dude. I'm like, man, that glove box shit's so fake.
And this is actually supposed to be safer too,
Yeah,
as far
they
as
say
like
it's
brain
safer
damage
for you.
goes and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
cosmetically a little more dangerous, but actual internal brain damage and shit
You're right
way
about
better.
that.
But man, I'll tell you, like all now when I watch glove boxing and them dudes are all covering, I'm like, that's bullshit. You can't do that in real life. You can't fight.
Yeah.
Like you cover up with the hands right here and some shit's gonna slip in, you're gonna get fucked up.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna make sure we tag you in all the make sure you send all your socials. I'm gonna tag you on everything I post to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Once
Oh
I
yeah,
get off there,
appreciate you.
I'll start making up some clips, and I'll put out some clips first. Then I'll put out the whole interview, and we're also gonna have the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, and all that, and the video
Oh yeah.
version as well. And I'm gonna definitely, now you're a friend of the show, man. I'm definitely gonna follow everything you do. Make sure I support it. Can't wait to see your match. And
Oh
if
yeah,
you win, if you win, man, I'd like you to come back on, man. And,
oh yeah, I'm gonna keep
talk
coming
about
back
that.
on.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
let anybody else know, that I'm up for doing any interviews, man.
Oh yeah. And then one more shout out
Go ahead.
to GOAT, Scott Farley, my manager, man. Thanks for making this shit happen. I'm just a kid from North Topeka trying to fucking make his dream come true. And so shout out to the management team, shout out to everybody on the GOAT roster. I hope everybody watches fucking El Burrito. Dude's a living legend. Main event.
Well, like I said, can't wait to see it, man. Wish you the best of luck, man, and I can't wait till you come back up on the show, man.
Hell yeah. I'd love to be back.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Hey, you too, bro.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Well, that's another interview wrapped up. He's about to have his first fight in BKFC in Kansas City. Can't wait to see that. It's going to be very, very interesting. Men's flyweight division. He'll be fighting against Justin Martinez, who is 0-3 right now. He's going to be looking for his first win in BKFC. But according to Blaine Warbritton, he's not going to get it. The Topeka, the North Topeka bad boy himself. And check that out. That's going to be at Memorial Hall, Kansas City, August 16th, 2024. Of course, you could probably see that on the BKFC app. And they might have some of the matches up on YouTube, like the early matches and whatnot. And, we got the Dizzle out there in Kansas. which is right here, the Dizzle. It's out there in Kansas. So, you know, all y'all Kansas people that watch this, go to your liquor stores and get you a bottle of that Dizzle. Once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Paul Pickett Podcast. And that was Blaine Warbritton, the North Topeka bad boy himself, man. Thanks for tuning in. Peace, and I'm out.
I